In the year 2126, you play the role of an Echo 1 service android named Jack, and you're working with this gal, Captain Olivia Rhodes, aboard the Kronos 2, a mining space station. You're basically a maintainer on a mining ship orbiting the rings of Saturn. Captain Rhodes is setting things up so Jack can be the sole operator of the ship when a mysterious surge of power messes everything up, and it's up to you and Captain Rhodes to go around and fix everything up. The whole game is in zero gravity, so you're floating about, and the only way to move around is to pull yourself or to use these rocket-powered wrist things, these jet boosters. Overall, the movement is really good and really helps you get immersed into the beautiful world that these guys have made. If you're a fan of The Expanse, or Star Trek, or Alien, or sci-fi in general, you will most likely wet your pants. The game is filled with a lot of beautiful areas to explore, some finding quests, simple as hell puzzles, frustrating as hell timed survival challenges. There will be a lot of cutting, a lot of scanning, and a lot of story. This is a very narrative-heavy game. The game is mostly adventure and puzzle game with some survival mechanics. You'll have a power life bar and a radiation bar that you'll have to keep in check, and biomasses and weird bubbly things that if you touch it, you die. There's no crazy action fighting sequences. As far as most games go, this is a slow burn. But for those who enjoy a decent puzzle, who love sci-fi, space, a good narrative, good characters, there's pretty much everything there for you here. And there is some action. You do get a laser cutter that you can use to shoot some of the bubbly biomass things. Not to mention, everything that you are doing is well polished, intuitive. The menu sequences fit perfectly with the game, are easy to navigate and easy to understand. It is rare to find games that came out at this time to not be riddled with bugs and have all these issues. Hats off to the devs on this one. In terms of narrative, there is multiple dialogue options. I believe it also spans off into different story moments. But at the very least, it gives you a sense of Jack, your character, and his character, his personality. You get to choose his personality. The only main issues I've really had with the game were when you're in a particularly stressful part of the game and you're trying to grab a wall or a pole and you miss, or it doesn't grab. It usually happens when you're about to die, so... Also, when you're about to die, it pauses the game, so you can rethink your life, or maybe go back and not die the way you're just about to. Okay, back to the graphics, because generally in games, particularly for VR, as many who've been in the space know, graphics aren't really the mainstay all, but this game is gorgeous. It's one of those things you can't really experience as much through a monitor where you're just looking for your next objective. Here you can really enjoy this world. The colors and textures were done very well, very sharp, very realistic and detailed. I was also really impressed with the depth of field that this game allowed for you, especially for those who are fortunate enough to be playing on a beefy PC, which I highly recommend. This is one of those games that you can use to really show off the capabilities of what VR can do right now. And on the note of immersion, the voice acting was amazing. The voice acting was top-notch, really made you feel like you were talking to a person in the middle of space by Saturn, or whatever was going on. It made me care for the captain. It made me care for the captain and gave it a bit more extra incentive to really do the tasks to help her. You go through this journey with her and bond more and more along the way. As things happen, you feel more attached to her, or at least I did. The way they did the voice for Jack was also interesting. It was like a mix between robot and human. Kind of reminded me of the robot from Interstellar a little bit, or maybe Data from Star Trek, or Isaac from the Orville. I don't know which side you're on. And hearing his voice and the way that you're able to use it added an element of realism that I didn't expect. He also progressively shows that he is adapting to act more human when adding jabs and jokes, like congratulating the captain on her swear count not increasing the past 10 hours. The audio and the sound engine was on point. You could hear the service droids in the background when you were in the next room. You can hear the ship's engines and the creaks and the metal squeaks and the instruments in the background. Oh, super clear. Felt like it was coming from the right directions. Again, more immersion to the situation you were in. Last time I'm using the word, hopefully in this deal. Overall, this game was the most immersive I felt in a VR game with the visuals and the gameplay to back it up. The environment was completely believable for me, even though I was in the middle of space and I'm a robot. And the story had me guessing and thinking, and my adrenaline pumping at some points. You will die in this game. Though there's not many action sequences, or any at all, there's definitely a lot of blood-pumping moments, and a lot of very frustrating trial and error situations that'll have you wanting to throw your controller into a wall, or break your headset altogether. The mobility was scary realistic, and for me was the most memorable aspect of the game. So this game is not an action game. This game is not a shooter. Don't go in expecting some alien VR horror thing going on. This is a survival game, it's an exploration game, and it's a puzzle game. It has narrative elements, and everything that it does super well. Again, one more time, thank you for putting the time, dedication, and your skills into making this game. It's definitely an experience I will take with me, and has set a pretty high bar for the next VR games to come.